Well, welcome, Marie. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to chat with you. And I would love it if we could just start with you sharing a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey and practice.
Sure. Let's see. I was a teacher for English as a second language for 27 years. Um, and I come from I'm Mexican American, and I as I've learned over the years through going to intuitives and doing the work that, well, I know one of my mother's mother was a curandera. She worked and she did we live in our town or city, and she did work with people when they knew where she lived, and they'd come and she'd help them. But she didn't after a while because it wasn't as accepting as. And then my other grandma, when she was 6, because she could use her hands and do all sorts of things back in Mexico, and the whole town's just like, this stops. So she never did, but I know they're both of them are working with me now. So that's really nice. So I gotta say, I first did healing touch, and was working on the different levels and so on and so forth. And I think my daughter Scene is the one that said, well, you should connect with Amy. And I'm going, Earth Tenders Academy. Wonder what that's about. And it was kind of, and it was great because, and I'm going along, I'm going like, it's working with energy, what you do in healing touch. So it was familiar to me, but there was so much more. And now I feel like I'm deeply, deeply ensconced. The earth is all, I mean, this is where I rock. And more so than I even realize. When I go and talk to intuitives, they said, oh, you are so. And so now I start with one crystal, and now I just imagine crystals are around me all the time. And or if they're not with me, and I'm still learning about that. So it's just been an ongoing practice. Yeah. And I'm not doing anything with it other than I will go when I take trips. Um, I've used the process that I learned from you when I go to somebody's lake home, or if I go up to a town that has waterfalls or whatever, and I'll just travel. And with my the people that work with me, my ancestors and my grandma and um some others help me open portals, close them, whatever is required. So the last one I went to, it was to open a portal for fairies to come out. They just waved at me, but I made sure I closed the portal after. It's in your article and has been, must do that. So it's nice. I like how things are progressing for me, slowly but surely. Yeah. And I don't know if I'll ever do anything, because you have so many people that have taken your classes and they're just doing so many cool things with their day-to-day, making it into a business or whatever they're choosing to do. I think that's fantastic. I don't know where I'm going to be on that.
Well, was there something that was happening, before you looked into Earth Tenders Academy that made you feel like you were being called to do this work with the earth?
Hmm. I can't say, because I think I was just coming out. I was just sort of starting my journey. And in some ways I was still shut down about some things, family wise or dealing with other stuff, teaching. that COVID. But it just wasn't, I don't think so. I remember my daughter saying, no, check it out, and I liked it. But at that time, I didn't know until I think when we went on the trips, when we went to Florida and when we went to Arizona, was it New Mexico?
New Mexico. Yeah, I was going to say you've come to two of our in-person retreats.
Yes,
So
I'm waiting for
yeah,
the next one. I'm waiting for the
what
next
so did
one.
something spark for you
Oh,
when
yeah. I mean, I
together?
think it was because you'd ask us, and plus including, and I think because every month you would say, okay, we're going to go to someone's house. I'm like, okay, cool. And I remember, I'm not really, now I'm more comfortable with snakes, but at that time I'm well, like snakes, geez. And all of a sudden there's a snake and it became a land guardian, kind of came up, had the face and was talking to me. I'm like, okay, there you go. Just roll.
You had to face
Roll.
your fears in your
I-
journey.
Exactly. Exactly. Part of me is going like, why did it have to be snakes? But
Right.
no, that was so cool. I mean, going on those and experiencing that to the point when we went on, I think it was the New Mexico one. And again, people are at different levels and they're just learning. They're going like, gosh, every time Marie does it, she comes up with something. And I'm going, does everybody? You get used to it. You think
You
that
do.
what you have is what everybody else has. And they're still learning and they're still trying to figure it out. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty special to be able to,
Yeah.
through your guidance, be able to um, do the work and then remembering that work when I go someplace on my own to just, yeah, big
It
time.
really is so magical kind of to see the looks on people's faces, right? When they get it or realize like I am getting it, I am doing it. And it's
That's,
why, we do this as part of the process is to gather every month and do these property readings for each other and
yes,
connect with different places is not just to have the experience of reading the energy of different places because they're all so different. And if you just
right,
read your house all the time, right, the energy is
right.
kind of the same. So getting to go other places is really helps us improve our skills, but then having that opportunity to share and hear what others are getting and compare it to what we're getting can really help us to trust
Yes.
that we're doing it.
Yes, and I think Amy, your confidence in what you do, what you have all that confidence in us too. You just go like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, I can.
Absolutely.
Whatever you, yep, I see it. Yep, you're good. I think that makes a big difference. And it makes a big difference. So I thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. And I will thank you. You're so wonderful on these calls. If you're on the call, you volunteer to go first and
Oh
share
yeah.
after our journey, which, not everyone wants to be the first to go and the first to share. They want to wait and hear what everybody else has. And,
Yeah.
and when I see that you're on the call, I always think, oh, good. I know I have my first volunteer
Yes,
after the
you
journey.
are.
Marie's going to share for sure. And it's
You
wonderful. It keeps
know
us off.
both, but you are getting so many new people or even older people or whatever who've been around as long and more people are sharing. I think they're feeling more comfortable. And
Yes, I would
really,
agree.
yeah, everybody has such different abilities and you can see how what they can see as might not be what I can see. But it's cool to hear about it because that's just the way it is. I think it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what tools would you say? I mean, tools being kind of loose, but what tools would you say that you learned about or tried for the first time or, came to understand through Earth Tenders Academy that you have found most useful when you do go and travel and visit and do this work in other places?
Oof. Um, that the land guardians that I am taking a shamanic journey. And to be able to say that in itself you can't say that to everybody. And, but when you can say it in this group, everybody's going like, yeah, let's go. And it's just, it's, that makes a difference. That makes a difference, being able to, have you lead us to the place and then meet the land guardians. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then every time it's different. I'm just amazed, but they're also happy. I mean, not happy, but they want, they want your help because they can't do it. You know, they don't have that. So, I mean, that's not what they do. And so, that's, you know, that piece is really important. And then just listening to what they have to say, taking you to different places, seeing what's there. I mean, that was the first time I remember when I had a little boy, and he wanted to go on.
Mhm.
So I actually did that work, which I've never done before.
Right.
And it worked. I mean, of course it just did. And or hearing, I remember this, and you do too, the one time when you asked us to go into a house, or ask permission, or should we, right? And so I asked, and they said, well, no, that's for someone else. And then the next person who came up and said, well, that was for someone else. I mean, they were all told that until the fourth person said, well, it's me.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody kept saying, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And then,
right.
but there was somebody that it was for, and they
Yes.
did that work.
She
The
did,
spirits helped them.
she's so good at that. I mean,
Yeah.
just so good at that. But it's, I can't say, you know, if you can't talk to people if they're not ready, because they're gonna say, you're just using your imagination, you're making this all up. Well, there's no way. I mean, I have a good imagination. I'm not that good.
Right.
I drew a picture. If I could draw a picture of every land guardian I have, I mean, it's just, they're so different, you know, some have antlers. I mean, it's all different. And, um, and I think that's why when we go on the trips, or every month, is that people are going, you know, I'm not strange. I'm, I'm here with people who are, and we're doing good work. We're doing good work. And the earth needs us and wants us to help. You know, it just is. And and you have to listen, you know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it's so interesting because I think in our culture, if we have the idea at all about working with spirits of any kind, whatever, that we feel like they are, all knowing, all doing, all right, like all powerful, right, compared to us, right? And through this work, and specifically with the spirits of the land, I think that's what's really makes a big impact on me, right? Is like how integral we are to the process and we are to their process, right? Like they need us as much as we need them, and they can't do it all, and they can't, they don't know everything, and they don't, but like they're just so, as you say, cooperative and agreeable and happy to have humans to partner with and to figure it out together.
you know, the earth is, we were all chosen to be here. You know, we could have gone to so many other planets, but we were sent here. And 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 for all the things that you have to learn on earth, because it's that kind of school. And they also are part of this to help us, to help the earth. I mean, they wanted to keep going. They want things to keep happening. Let's make it the way it should be, or better, or however they want, you know, to look at it, the words. It's all good. It's wonderful, really.
It is, and it just, again, it's why I wanted to share it with more people, and share this work, because it's so heartwarming for me, right? Every time I have these experiences, or sometimes heartbreaking, but
Well, yeah,
still, really beautiful
yeah.
experiences to be able to have. And you're right, to be able to connect with other people who also can experience it or are experiencing it and don't think it's strange or weird, and we're all, in the same place doing the same thing. It's makes a big difference for us.
And yeah, and I'm looking forward to Thursday. I mean, oh my gosh, I've never really, I don't think, maybe when we were down in Florida, maybe a little experience with Bigfoot, but now I really haven't. So this is gonna be like cool. And I'm seeing when I travel in my state, I'm seeing, like people have more Bigfoot statues all over the place. I'm
They
seeing
are definitely in the
more.
collective consciousness. I mean, they have
Yeah,
been for a long time, but lately it seems like especially.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it used to be one or two. It's not that now. It's lots more.
I
So it's,
love it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you've touched on this a little bit, but tell me a little bit about some of the maybe specific experiences that you've had or things that you've tried, with these
Sure.
different skills that you've learned.
Sure. One time I was at my friend's house and it just felt a little off because they had those big communication.
Like Wi-Fi towers?
Yeah, Wi-Fi or
Cell towers?
whatever kind of towers,
Yeah.
big tall things. And I just felt a little funny. So I went in the back and you had talked about this before. Oh, I can't remember. Were those black things in the lake, were they AI?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes. The AI
so
device.
right,
Uh-huh.
so I did the work and I ended up in the back and it was like, there was an AI there, a black shaped, multi-shaped metal looking thing. And the ground was kind of like all, what's the word? Viney. Everything was viney. And so I was asked to clear that out. And so
And this
that was,
is what you could see like in your
yeah.
journey, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. I could see it. And I'm like, all right, but that was the first time I'd seen an AI. Like you had talked about it, you'd seen him. It was the first time I saw one. And I knew it needed to go. And it did. Um, and here's the next thing, if you start using your logical mind, it doesn't work. You can't. I mean, it's just kind of like you can't. That's when yeah, no, you just do the work and you move on.
Yeah, it's too easy to discard things that really are happening or that really are there, that really are,
Yes,
when you
yes,
start to second guess yourself.
yes, yes, yes. And one time I went to a house. This is out in California. I was sent to the house in California, and honest to God, there was I came away from that. It was almost a place that if I had more people to help,
Mm-hmm.
or if I'd gone maybe 3 more times, my cat, sorry, 3 more times, because there was so much, it was so dense. And there were 2 houses on the property. When I got to the other property, it was just all covered with black webs. I mean, it was just like, man, I'm gonna take these black webs away, but that's still, I haven't got inside the house.
Yeah.
It's
Like
like that.
step one.
Right, right. So, and I remember we went to Colorado one time with you, and it was near, was it a rocket kind of place or?
Oh, it was Colorado Springs. It was like
Yes,
the city of, because they have
yes,
that whole underground bunker there.
yes,
The government does, yeah.
yes, yes, yes. But even out, I mean, it was just like,
It
you
was
name
epic.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. And so that was very interesting. One time I was at up in northern Minnesota, and there was a waterfall. And I remember I was called to go past a waterfall over a ways to close the portal. So I worked with what I have is I have my ancestors and my grandma, and my grandma would say, this is what I'm seeing, and they would drum. And then I had other people weaving the portal closed.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, that was very, very interesting. I remember that. And here's the thing, it it's not it's not like an hour.
No.
It just happens. It's just like,
Right.
okay, I'm back. I mean, I was sitting with my daughter and her boyfriend at that time, and it just was fast. It was fast.
It takes
And
longer to describe it than it does sometimes to do it.
exactly, exactly. True, 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 true. So that was another one. I just, when I go back and I look at all the ones I've done with you or I've done my own, I'm going like, I've done a lot. We've done a lot of work, which
We
is way.
really have, like individually and collectively. Yeah.
Yep,
Really
yep,
amazing.
yep, 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 yep.
And I also think about, when we have situations like you're just saying where, oh gosh, I came to this place, but that was either I didn't have enough time or it wasn't the right time for me to work with this, or it was way too big of a prior or whatever, that even the little thing that we are able to do or the whatnot, probably paves the way for other kind of healing to happen or for somebody else to now come in and, pick up where you left off or
Yeah,
whatnot. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
love that. I love that.
yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about what's next for you. What are you working on now, or what's unfolding for you?
Oh gosh, what is unfolding? I'm going on another cruise, and
Lovely.
it's going to be up to Nova Scotia.
Ooh, very
I
exciting. That's
know
on my
it.
to-do list.
I know it. So it's starting in New York and then going up to Rhode Island and then up to Bar Harbor, Maine, up that way, and then up to Halifax and St. John's and up that way.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to think of what I should read beforehand. Of course, because I want to go exactly where. I want to go exactly where things are happening in Nova Scotia. I'm not going to be able to, but
Yeah, yeah. Have you read that Templar Meridians
yeah, I got it.
book? I was gonna say
Yeah.
that one has a lot of details
A
about Nova
lot.
Scotia and the coast. Yeah.
And yeah, so when I was in Scotland, I mean, that was the Callanish Stones. I mean, I met the person who wrote the book.
Wow.
She was sitting across from us. Oh gosh, I remember going to the cafe and I'm going like, oh, the author of the book was here last night. Oh, that's too bad. We're eating, and there she was. Because she was saying,
It stayed
because it was
over.
a small area, and she's sitting there and she's just talking to us. I mean, we had autographed book and so on and so forth. And I definitely think she's galactic. Way, way. Um, it was fantastic. So when you go to these places and the opportunities arise, things will happen. So I'm not too worried, you know.
No, and there's a good earth tender community in Nova Scotia. So
Oh,
depending on
really?
now you've actually connected with some of the people from retreats
Oh,
on
yeah. We
like to
went
go and do other
across
things, right?
Tennessee. Yeah. We had a blast.
Yeah.
Because, again, they're all at different levels and their abilities are just amazing and fantastic to listen to. You know, wow. Um, and I don't find myself, and that's a good thing. And I think you've alluded to this too. I don't discount what I do.
Mhm.
I don't say, well, gee, I wish I could do what she's doing. No, no, no. That's not for me necessarily. It's what I have to do with what I've given at this time in my life. It could be different next week, could be different, a year from now. Who's to say? But for right now, this is what I do. And I remember thinking, well, I'd like to know more. And I'm like, no, I don't think you should. That's not your thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I try to remind everyone of that on every one of our calls, right? Because it can be really easy when we're all comparing notes
Yep.
to also compare, well, I didn't get as much as they did, or I didn't see like they saw, or I didn't, and feel like you're doing it wrong or you're not doing it as well or whatever. And we just all have such completely different gifts or our different points in our journey. And if we're busy kind of trying to do it like someone else, then we might miss what's special and unique about us and be able to
Right.
do something that nobody else can do but us.
Right, right. I just heard this the other day, that comparison is about your wounds and desires,
Mm,
you know.
makes sense.
so true, because I did my share of that.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, but we all, yes, yes.
Well, just one last question for you.
Sure.
Who you obviously, have been very involved in the community and gotten to meet a lot of people. Like, who would you recommend Earth Tenders Academy to? Who would be a good fit for the group?
You mean to add two?
Yeah, like what type of person would do you
Oh,
think
what type of
enjoy
person?
it?
Oh, golly, boy. Somebody who, if they're spiritually aware, somebody who, I mean, I think it's really easy to go up, I mean, not up, I use up, but to use, I think, it's, there are people that work with the galactic beings. That's cool. That's their choice. That's what they do. And there are people that, choose to work with, maybe, a master of someone, a master of something. That's cool too. But I mean, the earth is so cool. And there are people that, somebody who is excited uh about the world, sees the trees in a different way. Um, um, looks at the rocks or sees the ocean or the water. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how you want me to answer this, because I like it so much that I think everybody would like it too. It's not just liking Earth, but bringing more joy to it. Yeah,
Love that.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's so interesting too, because I think about this sometimes that a lot of people on Earth, right, are more infatuated with what's happening outside of Earth, right? Like you say, and I always think like the Earth is galactic too, right? We're out here
That's
on
right.
on Earth floating around in space, just like all the other planets, just like,
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
else. And we forget sometimes that like we're a part, we're here, we've just, as you said, chosen to be here on Earth and work with this planet at this in this timeline.
yeah. And there's a lot, I think you've mentioned this, but I've also heard this, that there's a lot of other uh galactic beings on other planets who would have liked to have been on Earth.
Yeah.
Wish to be on there,
Right.
however it is, but
Or peeking in and watching
yeah,
what we're
yeah.
doing here.
And,
Yeah.
and you and I can, you say it's not easy all the time. We're here and we're doing the best we can.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your experiences. And it's just such a pleasure to have you in the community and participating with us. And for anybody else, if you're interested in Earth Tenders Academy, the all the information is at earthtendersacademy.com and you can learn more there. So thanks again, Marie. I really appreciate you
That's
sharing.
Peace out.